welcome everyone to tonight's Inspired Tribe webinar. This time the format will be a live conversation, and I feel like I would really like to help people to get inspired in these very challenging and difficult and crazy times. There's a lot of negative energy going around, a lot of chaos, fear, a lot of anger. People are feeling very hopeless. They don't know what to do. They feel like the freedoms have been taken away. They can't just jump on the plane and fly somewhere easily. There's less restrictions. And I think potentially it's causing a lot of mental health issues and depression as well, because people feel like they've lost the will to live. There's no hope, there's uncertainty. So there's a lot of things happening outside of our control. But the good thing is that even though there's a lot of things happening in the world that we have absolutely no influence or control over, but we can control our own emotions and how we interpret the events and how we react to it. The issue also, from what I've heard from a lot of people, is that they have lost contact with some friends or family because they have completely different views on things. So people are angry, or they want to impose their own views on other people and say, no, I'm right, or they say, no, I'm right. Some people are getting paranoid, they're getting into a lot of fear. For example, you know, they're really scared of dying, whereas other people are just angry and thinking, oh, you are overreacting, you know, there's no problem really. And it's very easy to get dragged into reading, whether it's mainstream media or whether it's alternative media. It doesn't really matter, because the thing is that we get dragged into something and it can hijack our morning, our day, our week, potentially a month or a few months, and we get dragged into this energy, and then there's no energy left to create, to work on our own life, on finding inspiration, or just getting on with our life. If you haven't got your vision and your life purpose now, the time is even harder to discover it. So we need to find the space for ourselves and shield ourselves to avoid this negative energy and have our sacred space. So this is why I wanted to do this webinar today, because I know a lot of people are feeling very confused and lost, and they just don't know how to find their inner peace. So today we will address these issues with a very dear friend of mine, and also a multi-award winning transformation coach, speaker, and TV and radio personality, Joy Ogeh-Hutfield. So Joy has transformed lives of many people. She has a gift of inspiring and motivating people to find their own path and pursue it. Joy was awarded a lot of awards, for example, the Woman of the Year Recognition Award, Coaching Excellence Award, and she was voted the top 100 businesswomen in Wales. And Joy has got her YouTube channel, Wake Up with Joy, as well, which continues to inspire a lot of people to put you in a good mood every morning. And Joy's coaching style is very holistic. It's spiritual, it's holistic. She looks at different aspects of your life. So whether you want to improve your career, your personal life, your relationship, your spiritual life, your health and well-being, Joy can help you with all of this. And she has a true talent to help people. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Joy Ogeh-Hutfield.
Oh, thank you. I thought, what's that? Oh, well, a gorgeous good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're dialing from. And thank you so much, Anna, for this incredible opportunity to really be part of your event for the Inspired Tribe. You know, we've known each other for many years. We always admired you, your strength, your go-getting attitude, and of course you've got such a wonderful heart for people, and to really want to make a difference. It's not a surprise because I've known that for the many years that we've been friends. So thank you so much for the opportunity. And what an incredible title, How to Stay Inspired. And of course, you are absolutely spot on. In terms of these, if such a time as this is the right time for people really to be inspired and to bring things back, you know, back to you, back to your own, you know, creating your own reality, because sometimes you are absolutely spot on. You know, we're driven, you know, with the media, the news, and none of these things are inspiring. In fact, you know, they cause anxiety, the stress, and that whole negativity around us. So really, really super excited and looking forward to sharing this platform with you. And thank you once again. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Joy. So let's address the first issue, which is basically a conflict between friends and family. And if we are having different views to, for example, if our family members or some friends are having a lot of fear and they are imposing a lot of negativity on us, like how do we deal with this? Do we just avoid them and don't call them, don't go there? Or do we embrace it? Or how do you see it? Like, what is our job? What is our role in this world now? What should we be doing?
Okay, well, that's a great question and a great start. And of course, you know, we are aware, apart from Chad, we are aware of what's been going on. Of course, you know, the COVID, the pandemic, and what that has really done is put a lot of fear in a lot of people. I spent from March to this time, I've been doing a lot of work actually in the US and all over the world via Zoom workshops, in really helping people to deal with their fears and to deal with their anxiety. And it's real. And of course, you know what happens with fear, with anxiety comes frustration, and those things equals negativity, because there's nothing around you when you're surrounded with all these things. You know, you struggle, or people might struggle to see the good, to see what's good, you know, and how can I come out of this? So these things are real. With regards to the question in how you deal with that in terms of close family networks, again, that is quite challenging, because your family, they're dear to you, but also with family networks is that is where it also could tend to be volatile, because family can feel that, well, actually, I can say what I want to say, you know, you are my family, so I can just say it. And sometimes in terms of our frustrations, we tend to take it out on the ones we love the most. And that's often a fact, because they think, well, you can take it, you can't go anywhere. So in terms of that kind of setup, we find that, you know, there's a lot of perhaps conflict that might be coming from there. And a lot of the negativity that are around those family setups, it's easy. And I know I've been a coach for nearly 20 years. It's easy to go, stop the negativity, you know, get alive, be positive. And it's great because it sounds amazing. But when people are in that cycle of negativity, it is hard. It is difficult because they've gone through a thought process and a state that really for them is difficult to shift. So what can we do about that? In those circumstances, I would say first and foremost, if you're in that family conflict or that family situation where your family members are being negative or they're afraid, is to listen. So rather than, you know, jump in with the opinion of, let me tell you what I think, you know, is to take a step back and to really understand where they're coming from. Because often enough, when people are afraid, they are insecure. When people are insecure, they are frustrated. When people are frustrated, they lash out. So when you understand the cycle that some of these individuals or your family members or your friends are at, then really what they're asking you is, I don't want to hear what you have to say right now. I just want you to listen to me. So it's that kind of listening. Secondly, I will also say is this perhaps might be the right time to lead by example. So when people are negative around you, you can do two things. You can choose to join them and woe and moan, Or you can actually set an example and say, well, actually, I'm not going to tell them to be happy or to be positive. I'm going to be that positive person that at least will bring that light into their situation or into their dark moments.
Mm-hmm. And how do we calm ourselves down? For example, if we get into a conversation and, you know, we're feeling angry, well, what tips do you have to like calm down instantly and then step back and listen?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because there are different things that can make you anger. I have what I call as holy anger. That's my way of saying holy anger. So it's kind of, well, you know, you're kind of angry, but it's almost like a slightly justified kind of anger. You're not lashing out on anybody, but it's almost like when I say holy anger, there's a cause. You know, there's a cause. So you're not bitter, but you're almost, you're angry to the point where you are propelled or compelled to want to make a difference. So that's what I call holy anger. There's anger where you just get angry. It's really negative. You internalize that anger. You're angry at the world. You're angry at everybody, but then you're not doing anything about it. You know, so there are different types of anger, isn't it? So yes, you can have that combination where if you're angry, how do you calm yourself down? A lot of the time when we're angry is because it's coming from a deep place. One of the things that the pandemic has raised is the fact that it, in a sense, is brought out a lot of our hidden personalities, I would say, because it's never been challenged. So people who tend to worry, or people who worry a lot, or people who are anxious, what it's done in moment of storm or in moment of being in a crisis, it means that it kind of accentuates, it exaggerates that part of you. So if you're a warrior and with all this going on, guess what? That's going to really bring out that worry demon inside of you, because you're thinking, oh my God, you know, I knew I was a warrior, but it kind of really exaggerates it. You know, if you were some anxious, of course, it's going to expose that side of you. So how do you calm these things down? Number one, okay, rather than saying, I'm not afraid, you know, I'm super awesome. We get that bit. Is first of all, is to recognize the fear, recognize the frustration. When you recognize it, you own it. When you own it, it means that, I see it. I can do something about it. We're not in denial. We're not, acknowledge. When you acknowledge something, you're saying, I might not like it, but I'm displaying this behavior, you know? So it means that, you know, it positions you to kind of see yourself and to want to do something about it. So it's recognizing it. Number two is writing it down. I find that there are two types of mountains, as I call it. There's the mountain of fear and there's the mountain of joy. Okay. Now, these two things are constantly in front of us. And when we wake up in the morning or when we're facing difficulties, there's always a choice. You know, you can be on that mountain of fear or you can be on that mountain of joy. And when you choose the mountain of joy, it somehow makes it feel that, yes, I'm not in denial, but at least when I focus on that mountain, it allows me to begin to do something towards getting to the top of that mountain when I'm more elated. When you get on the mountain of fear, you are on that mountain, but that's all you feel.
Mm-hmm. I love this whole idea of like not suppressing the anger and the fear. You acknowledge it, you know it's there, and then channeling it into something positive or more creative. But I agree, if we suppress the emotions, it's just gonna come out somehow, somewhere, somewhen. We don't know what's gonna happen, but acknowledging it and then choosing, okay, I choose this morning.
And just one more thing. So you acknowledge it, but also depending on the fears, what I've taught in the past is you can actually create a ladder. Okay, so you can create a fear ladder, and that fear ladder means that from the you can write your fears, write them down, you know, depending on how intense or how severe they are. So it means that it gives you an opportunity then to kind of conquer. So you can say, okay, I'm going to deal with that. And one of the greatest way that I've seen, I've done it with my clients, I've done it with my own family member as well, is to kind of learn to question, you see, and to challenge the fear. So for example, you know, I'm afraid of dying, or I'm afraid of catching COVID. Okay. Now you can say, okay, is this a fact? You know, where is that worrying from? Do you know what I mean? What can I do about it? Or what am I doing about it? So it's not just a random fear. You know, are you exposing yourself? Are you doing the things that you need to be doing? So, you know, you could look at that fear, you could actually question it, because when you look at the analogy of fear, it's false evidence appearing real. So a lot of the things sometimes that we fear don't actually happen, you know, so it's actually questioning that evidence, you know, is it true? Is it real? And sometimes when you go through that list, you realize that half the things you're afraid of, really, you got control over, and you can truly do something about it. And it doesn't leave you feeling helpless.
Yeah, no, this is great advice about questioning. I think I've gone a little bit maybe into extreme with the questioning myself, because now I question absolutely everything I watch, everything I read, and it's going from like one thing leads to another, and like at the moment I question absolutely everything, even scientific evidence I question because nothing makes sense for me anymore. And it's very easy to like get dragged into researching or reading, and whether you go down the mainstream or alternative media, it doesn't matter. But like, what's your advice, Joy? For example, you know, if you remember, I'm a member of several groups, and they're posting a lot of information, and there's all sorts of things. There's a chaos of information out there, and it's coming from every single direction. There's a lot of political agenda there. There's things which are not true, a lot of things which are true, but like everybody believes in something or a part of it, or everything or nothing. And like, how do you shield yourself, and how do you select the questioning and the information that you are exposing yourself to? And like, how much time do you actually spend on it, not to get sidetracked, you know, with your energy going somewhere where you don't want to go?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things is that there's always going to be information, you know, from the minute you open your eyes, you're bombarded. You know, we are in the information age, clearly. So from the minute you wake up, if it's not your phone ringing, it's your WhatsApp, it's somebody wanting to tell you something, somebody sending you videos, you know, so everyone is trying to bombard you with information. Now, if you think about it and say, okay, right, one of the ways perhaps is to guard your mind, guard your thoughts. If you think about you, okay, and if you think about, you know, you as a person and the value that you are adding to yourself, it means that you will make a conscious decision that you're not a dumping ground, because information too much, you know, so if you take the wrong information, you become a dumping ground, because people will associate you that everything they throw at you, you are receiving it. And what happens to a dustbin, to a dusting ground, you either begin to smell, and this is the smell of negativity of everything that's been poured into you, is that somehow it needs to be released somehow. If you're being poured a lot of anger, well, as a result of that, you are going to be, you know, you're going to be angry. If you're being fed a lot of confusion, you are going to be confused. So really, it's not up to anybody else. It's up to you to look at how precious you are, how precious your time is, and what is it that you choose to embrace, and what you choose to really invest. Because everything, whether information, whether you read it on WhatsApp, whether you read it in the news, these are all investment of your time. And in the early days, especially with my coaches, one of the things that I worked with them in guarding themselves, is that I was realizing with some of them is that actually, when we calculated it, 80% of their time was spent, you know, in just things that did not add value to them, you know, the news and all those kind of things, the media. And so I said to one of my coaches, I said, well, that leaves 20%. So if you have a proportion of 80% and that is feeding on other people's garbage, then 20%, the question is, where is your vision in all of this? So the reality is, you know, without a vision, you are not going to add value. There's no direction. There's no clarity. So Secondly, to your question, to the question, is also about having your own vision. When you have your own vision and you have a purpose, then you would not be other people's dumping ground, whether from the government, whether from anybody else, because you have a clear agenda of your own.
Mm-hmm. So some of us have got our vision, our mission and purpose, and we've worked hard to discover it. But some people are still not sure, or things have changed. For example, they have lost or are about to lose their job or their business, and they have a lot of fear over like financial situation, and then everything is basically knocked off balance. So all the purpose they had, suddenly it's like, okay, I have to reprioritize because I need to make a living, or I need to, you know, fix things, or I'm totally uncertain about my basic needs, like what's going to happen in the next few months. Like, how can I now think about my purpose if I have to make a living? So what would you advise in this situation for people who are in a very difficult situation because things have changed for them in a negative way?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I absolutely appreciate that, because like you said, these have been really challenging times. And yes, a lot of people have, you know, lost their jobs. There's a lot of people still very, very unsure and very, you know, not secure because they don't know where they stand. And there are people apart from that who have lost, you know, loved ones to this pandemic. So it is really, really hard, and it is very, very difficult in terms of, you know, where is that light at the end of the tunnel? Because, you know, what I'm going through is very difficult. Where's the next meal going to come in? And a lot of people have never been in this situation. The world have never been in this situation before. So it's very new. But that is what I feel that more than any other time in our lives, it's important for us now to have that vision. Whether you had it before, it might have to be retweaked. So when we talk about vision, you know, what is vision? Basically, vision is the ability to see beyond your present reality. That's the simple definition of vision. So it's about seeing. It's not about seeing what is going on now with people dying with the COVID and people losing their jobs. Even if you have lost your jobs as well, it's seeing beyond that. Because when you have a vision, you can gravitate towards that. So it's not about focusing on what you have. It's about seeing what could be better. So for example, someone who's lost their jobs, you know, or lost their job, or they can say, okay, right, what's my vision now? Because I was really, you know, relying on that job. That job was my life. But here perhaps it's an opportunity to say, okay, let me see beyond that, because focusing on that job is gone. It's negative energy because you ain't going to get it back. But it might be an opportunity for you to see something else. It might challenge you to be able to recognize your deeper strength, your inner strength. It might challenge you to start stepping out of your comfort zone and seeing other possibilities. And that's what a vision is. So rather than focusing on what you've lost, what a vision does, it allows you to create, you know, what you could. It allows you to dream a little bit. And boy, do we need to dream a little bit, because the way the world is, we need that dream to be able to keep us, you know, at that motivation stage to go, you know what, this is not all there is. There's something beyond this COVID, and we're going to get there.
Yeah, no, this is very good advice. And also I think now, because we are working from home a lot more, we're not commuting, we're not wasting a lot of time on travel or getting to places. We have a lot more time to self-reflect and think about our own lives, what actually matters, reprioritize. And it might be difficult if we've lost our business, for example, or if we've lost our job and there is uncertainty, because the uncertainty puts us back into the survival mode, and we've got all this cortisol, and we can't think straight, we can't create from that state. But I think it's what you're saying, it's like getting beyond that and seeing, okay, maybe it's difficult right now, but nothing happens without a reason. There's a reason why I've lost my business or I lost my job. There's something better coming. I don't know what, when, how, but it's coming. And it's like you say, getting into this energy of like expecting something better, yeah, and not just dwelling on something that you can't recover.
And writing it down. And I think that's the thing, because, you know, prior to COVID, I would say, and, you know, the whole pandemic, you know, personally, I was always very busy because I traveled a lot. And, you know, I was in Spain a few times, you know, in last year. So there was a lot of demands on my time and energy. And I was, you know, busy here and there. And so being able to, you know, with the whole lockdown, what it did was I had to actually sit down, and when I revisited my vision, it was like, oh my gosh, hang on a minute, this is outdated. Well, I would never have done that. It was outdated. So if my vision was outdated, what was driving me? What was my driver? So really what it made me do was be still, you know, and stop running after other people and trying to fix everybody, and to really focus on me, which I think a lot of times we like to, it's better to focus on other people and be there and be that fixer and the rest of it. But the reality is that sometimes, you know, you cannot fix other people, or what is temporal, without you having to look at yourself, because once your foundation is right, then you can go and change the world. But it gives you that opportunity to focus on you, and to begin to get to know you. So that's what I did, and what I advise my coaches to do is, you know what, we can be negative, it is frustrating, but how about we turn it around and say, this is the time to have a love relationship with myself, you know, and really start to think about me, think about my own self-care, think about, you know, what is it that I want out of life for a change, rather than fussing about everybody else. And perhaps this is the right time to you know, reignite, you know, that vision, and to reignite your purpose.
Yeah, no, this is, I agree. It's a fantastic opportunity to actually find your vision and your purpose, because you
have time.
Yeah, you are locked. Bars are closed. Everything is closed. You can't go anywhere. You know, nobody's allowed to to meet. So you are stuck with yourself, with your own thoughts, with your own reality, and you have no choice but to look inwards.
Scary. Also, it is scary. It is scary. I mean, I'm saying it as a coach, but I can remember many years ago, I hated being on my own. It's very strange. You know, if I was on my own, I was fiddling. I was thinking, what am I going to do with myself? I wanted lots and lots of people. You know, I was that person. But now, actually, you know, maybe it's age. I'm getting to a point where I'm thinking, my company ain't so bad after all.
Yeah, I agree.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? But I think we are getting ourselves distracted all the time. It's like, I remember I was the same. I always had to be busy, doing, meeting people, doing this, just doing stuff for the sake of it. And there was like, where is the being? Where is the feeling? It's like, I'm distracted. I need to be distracted, like to be with my own thoughts, almost.
Absolutely. And it's all about the power of be, because be is so underrated. And because like you say, we're so busy doing because the world wants us to do. But then being, when you are in that state of being, that is actually where you recharge your batteries. Is the time when you actually, you know, so-called that positive, is that time to reconnect with your inner joy, your inner peace. You cannot reconnect with your inner joy and inner peace if you're busy chasing and running and doing God knows what. So it's that private time. And I mean, I'm very spiritual. So that power of be is so significant in my life, because it's my sacred space where I can be, you know, and being also is very authentic. You don't have to be anybody. It's just being you, and using that time to think about the beauty that resonates inside of you, and that whole area of being grateful and thankful, regardless of what's going on. So when you are in that power of being, it's an incredible place, you know. So we talk about inner joy and inner peace. We need to get back to that. Yes, it's scary, but it's a worthwhile scary. It's worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also then yeah, you have the opportunity to really go inwards and see what you're all about. And otherwise there's absolutely there's no way, because you're always busy doing things, and you can't go inward. And for example, for me now, the whole lockdown and everything, it actually forced me into like being still, doing more meditation, going in, was listening to music. I started playing music, and it's like I just almost was forced into it, because I don't think when it would come. Maybe it would come in 5-10 years time, but now it's like, okay, yes, I'm meditating in the morning. You know, I'm not looking at the phone and the information I'm being bombarded like before breakfast. There's no way I'm putting this rubbish into my mind. But I think
Absolutely.
before I was doing it because maybe there wasn't so much
Mhm.
information. It didn't feel so bad, but now it feels like, oh my God, I really need to shield myself. I have no choice, because I'm just gonna be completely lost and dragged on a path which I don't even want to be on. And yeah, just finding this time for yourself and saying 80% of the time should be like sort of decided by me. Yeah, so I'm doing this, and
Yes.
20% of the time, okay, maybe other people and their agenda, but 80% is like you choose. No, it's about me. What about me?
Well, yes, yes, and I think that is incredible, because it's when we think about what about you, a lot of the time, I'm you obviously you can't ask question, but I'm just posing it out to those who have joined us, is how many times in your life that you've kind of said, I'd love to do this, but haven't got the time, but I'd love to do that, but I will wait, I'll wait till my kids graduate. I'll wait till my husband suddenly sees the light. I don't know, I'll wait till I graduate. I wait till I get a fantastic job. So a lot of the time in our life, we're waiting for that perfect timing,
Mm-hmm.
So, and that perfect timing never comes. So when we talk about, today we're talking about being inspired and staying inspired. And one of the ways to really stay inspired is not to wait. It's not to wait, because when you're waiting, you are missing out on the now. You're missing out on that now experience. So you have all you want. You have all you need right now, inspired life, for yourself. And that's important. So I would say part of it is not, don't wait, and embracing that higher power also. It's another way to stay inspired and create, connect to your spirituality and creativity.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. We're getting some comments now
Oh, okay.
from people, um, which I don't know, we can potentially look in them now, or Melissa, you can actually share your story, and just saying that I've started something new, yeah, because of COVID, and I know there's a lot of people who their life changed completely, like 180-degree turn, and it's like, okay, I'm forced to it, or I have to find a hobby because I'm on furlough. I got nothing to do. And it's like, I think it's almost a blessing for a lot of people to be able to have this time and not to get distracted. So seeing everything as doom and gloom and pandemic and everything is going to be really bad, and the worst is still coming, and focusing on that, it's very easy to go down that route, because we
It
get into this
is.
dopamine cycle, and said more news, more dopamine, I read more, and it's like, oh my God. And then you get to the point when you think, actually, I need to step back and really
Absolutely.
look after myself only.
Absolutely. Because negativity isn't new, isn't? There's always negativity around us. Like you say, it's almost from the moment you wake up, somebody's handing you some kind of offense or wanting to offend you. Or, do you know what I mean? There's negativity everywhere. And the question is, so how do we actually overcome that negativity? Because we can't overcome it, whether negativity in our friends or in our families or even in ourselves. I've got to share this with you. This came as well. It wasn't a bit of a surprise. I was doing a masterclass for an award expo a couple of weeks ago, and in this masterclass, there were people talking and sharing and answering questions. And one of the guys there, he said, "Well, I'm miserable by nature." He said, "I'm miserable by nature. Nothing, would ever make me happy, and yeah, that's who I am." So I said, oh, really? I said, well, that's interesting. I said, are you sure that's who you are? He said, oh, yeah, absolutely. So I said, well, you seem to be wearing this like a badge, so is you being negative, is it by choice? And then he suddenly paused because he realized what he was saying in terms of, oh, actually, I'm choosing to be negative. But sometimes people say that because, they say, oh, I'm a right miserable git and rest of it. But these are very important because once you begin to wear these things and claim these things, they would alter your state, So identity, he didn't realize. So I said to him, I said, so do you find yourself on a daily basis being miserable? And he went, how do you know? And he said, you just told me. Do you know what I mean? you just told me. So it's interesting that, sometimes we can get in some of that negativity even without knowing. So how do you actually overcome that negativity? And one of the ways is choosing your thoughts, rewiring your thoughts, because it starts with a small thought. Oh, I'm not allowed to do this, or this has been imposed on me. And then you start to kind of build that victim mentality. And before you know it, you go into that negative mode where nothing everybody says is right. So it's catching those small negative thoughts before they spiral out of control.
Mm-hmm. No, I like what you said about the victim mentality, because a lot of people, well, now we can see it more than ever, and we just want to blame something or somebody or some government or somebody to for the way things are for us. So it's always easy to blame rather than like reclaim the freedom and do the things that we actually can do, because there's still a lot of things we can do, but if we don't focus on them, or if we just our identity is, for example, okay, I am my business, yeah, I lost the business, who am I now? I'm nobody because there is no business, yeah. Or I am whatever the job title is. It's like, is this really who you are, or this is just a label you gave yourself? I am miserable, I am business owner. And if you label yourself like that, you become it. But then when the business or the job or something being taken away from you, you are nothing, yeah. So how do you deal with that, with the identity?
It is this, because it's that part of that kind of self-discovery and self-awareness. So if you're not self-aware and you haven't done that work on yourself, then it means that you're latching out to some of those titles because, over the years, you've linked your being or your identity to those things, whereas those things they're not promised to be permanent. And that's important. And that's where, understanding you and spending that time with you to kind of understand that whole self becomes absolutely paramount. And of course, it is linked to lack of self-confidence as well, and that whole doubting, because then you're more susceptible when you self-doubt, to fall into that category of being the victim, because you haven't prepared anything else. And then you feel that somebody has taken everything from you. So the reality is, I mean, for me, when we talk about personal freedom, and so if you were to ask me the question and say, has anybody taken away your personal freedom? My answer is no, I didn't give it. So it was never taken. So I didn't give anybody permission to do that. So at the end of the day, it's really, when you talk about personal freedom, it's up to you. If you're saying somebody has taken away your freedom, well, somehow you consented and you're giving away that freedom. So for me, it's having to even redefine what freedom is, because freedom for me it's an inner, how will I put it? It's an inner personal conviction, for me. So my freedom can never be taken. It's like somebody that says, okay, somebody can, there's a word. Okay, so going back, I mean, we talk about sort of Black Lives Matter, but it's almost like, you can, and I was reading, there was a reading with some of the slaves that were taken, many, many years ago. And there was this particular slave that came out of the whole, what was going on at that time. And he said, well, I might have been a slave and they might have seen seen me as that. But the reality is that in my mind and in my thoughts, I was always free. So it comes back to the mindset that people might say, okay, I've taken your freedom, but your mindset, you can actually be a free person. and have that freedom and walk in freedom regardless of what's going on. So it's all kind of very much linked to that personal freedom and linked to your mindset, how you see yourself and how you see. If you feel you're being controlled, then that becomes your reality. If you know that you're free in yourself, then you will be and act as a free person.
Mm-hmm. And this is very relevant at the moment, because I know a lot of people who have joined us today. They feel like they've lost their freedom, and the freedom is one of the top values for a lot of us. And when our top value is like, something is taken away, and suddenly you can't do this or you can't do that, you feel like panic. There's it's like survival mode almost, and then you get into this like a negative spiral, and you go further, and you feel like a victim, and then it's difficult to come out of that and feel inspired, because if you feel like a victim, how do you suddenly feel like like you have the freedom?
Well, I see things more like temporary. So for example, with what's going on, we've been asked to don't do this, do that, don't do that. So for me, I don't see that as equating to my freedom. I see it as a temporary. So it means that I adhere to some of those temporary measures that I put in place. But that doesn't stop me being who I am. It doesn't stop me being Joy whatsoever. So they haven't taken anything from me. So for me, it's a temporary measure, but it's not a permanent situation that I need to adapt.
And it's not the entire focus, because it can become the focus. It's like, oh my God, I've lost my freedom. This is my focus, and that's all I'm thinking of all day. Yes. And you don't see anything else. You don't see opportunities. You don't see the beautiful tree around you. You don't see your cat is trying to spend time with you. It's like, no, I'm a victim. I'm a slave. I haven't got freedom. And that's all the sort of headspace is taken. There's nothing left.
It is. And one of the things that I find that you can really help, and has really helped me in overcoming all of this, whether it's freedom, personal freedom, it's kind of practicing gratitude, and that's really helped me, because I meditate a lot. I pray a lot. It's something that keeps me going. It's just the fact that I'm connected spiritually, to God, to the universe. That really has been huge in my life. So I wake up, and regardless of really what's going on, I just kind of practice that gratitude. And once I kind of get in that flow of being grateful, and I start with, I'm grateful for waking up. My eyes open this morning. It's like, oh my God, my eyes are open. You know what I mean? And it might be a small thing. So I don't even opening my eyes, I never take for granted. It's like, oh my God, wow. So, those the little things like that. And then I have a shower. It's like, God, I got running water. Thank God. So, and you start with that. And before you know it, your state is altered, and you begin to really understand that, for me, more than anything else, is what this whole situation has brought is the simplicity of life. I used to love to go shopping, and probably I still do to an extent, but I just thought, no, Joy, actually, I haven't been shopping for months, and I'm
really?
Alive. I know, me.
Wow. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. But all of a sudden, these things don't matter. It's really grounded me. I've come back and I thought, it's not even the clothes, because it's me. It's focusing on me, and it's focusing on what is really important. So I've developed great relationships. I know who my friends are. I've taken a lot of time to establish great relationships. So I'm speaking to my friends once every 2 weeks, which I was very guilty of. I do more of that. I cook more, and I'm enjoying cooking. My husband thinks I'm the best thing ever. So he probably just puts it to the COVID to say COVID has given him a better wife. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, but the point is, I'm enjoying cooking. I'm enjoying spending time with my children. So, it's really, and there's been lots of things not going right, but I have chosen not to focus on that. So it's that daily thankfulness and gratitude. It makes me smile, and I like to dance. I got to share this. How many of you know Billy Ocean? Just put your hand up. Billy Ocean. The other day, right? The other day I was sat in the sofa, and my husband was just flicking through YouTube, and he came on. And I realized it's been such a long time that I danced. You know, I listened to music, but not dance. And there it was, you know, and, you know, the Caribbean Queen. Da, da, da. I was off. I was off. You know, I kept repeating that song. I was dancing for 20 minutes nonstop. It was great. I mean, there were smiles. I went to bed. I felt happy. That was one song. That's one song. So I'm not downplaying what's going on in your lives. I'm not doing that. But what I'm saying is that we can change focus. We can rewire our thoughts. We can put something that takes you back to those days where you were like, yeah, you know, the juices were flowing. You can do that. And that brings you into a state. Those are the things you have control over. You don't have control about what the government are going to say next week or what they're going to say tomorrow. We don't have that. So getting upset, getting angry about those things really doesn't necessarily add value, you know. So if you can take that range. But anyway, thanks for sharing the Billy Ocean, you know. Yes.
Yeah. So this is interesting. We have no control over what the government does, but we have control over what song we play and what song we dance to.
There you are. Billy Ocean on my list anytime, yes.
Yeah, the dancing thing is very, it's very physiological. It puts you in a good mood. So if you've got any cortisol and stress, you literally put the music on and you start dancing, and 3 minutes later, you're in high frequency. It's absolutely mind-blowing how fast it works. I can see, guys, you are sharing songs now. You're more than welcome to share songs. We can then play them later and have a little dance this evening. But I've been doing that every single day now. I'm literally dancing every day. I created my own uplifting playlist in Spotify, and I'm playing that every day. And I'm singing, even though I'm a terrible singer. In the shower, like Joy, like you said, you dance in the shower, or you wake up in the morning. It's like, wow, I opened my eyes, I'm alive. You know, I've got so much to be thankful for and grateful. That is amazing. Like having a shower for me is like a ritual. It's like, wow, I have the hot water. Some people don't have it. Some people don't have running water. Some people don't have clean water. They even don't have drinking water. And we have this, you know, privilege to be able to have a hot shower every day. It's like, wow, amazing. And then I'm doing this is something, Joy, actually, you taught me. It's like every cell in my body is happy and healthy, and you have a little dance in the shower, and you reclaim your health. Yeah?
Yes. How does it go again? Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Every little cell is happy and well. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Every little cell is happy and well. There.
Yeah, I don't quite sing it like that, but something very, very similar. And it works. The singing, it just puts us in a very good high frequency. And the meditation and the dancing and all these simple things. It's all about simplicity. We don't need to, it's not rocket science, Joy, is it? To feel good and to give yourself the gift of feeling good and having the inner joy and peace. It's not rocket science, is it?
It's not. And I think that if you find yourself, and I'm not saying we're all going to be all happy like this all the time. I'm not saying that. But if you do find yourself in situation or in moments where you're experiencing sadness or you're experiencing, you know, fear, is that you can actually make that shift quickly. And I'll give you an example. So people think, oh, Joy, you're always very happy. Well, I am most of the time. But there are times that's because I have learned to rewire my thoughts. Now, I lost my mom a few years ago. I think it's probably 7 years this year. And it was really tragic. And so I kind of try and maintain, you know, that kind of the happy thoughts of her. And just yesterday, interestingly, just yesterday, was it yesterday or last night? Yeah, I dreamt of her, you know, and so obviously she came fresh to my mind, you know, yesterday. And then I was really just thinking about her and thinking about the great times. And all of a sudden, my mind just took me to a dark place. And I felt myself having to kind of, I could see myself being pulled into that darkness where I was reliving the death and all that. And I just suddenly thought, well, hey, hang on a minute. You know, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. And straight away, I was able to take control of those thoughts, because I realized that if I entertain them, then I will start to obviously go through that, why did she die, and the blame and the rest of it. And I knew it's only a matter of time. I'm only human. It would take me to a whole different direction to what I wanted to feel. You know, I didn't want to feel that. So so I quickly took control of that situation, control of my thoughts, and I repositioned it somewhere else. So we have got the power to do that. Not because your thoughts won't take you to dark places or dark moments. It will, I can guarantee you. But we need to be more conscious about what we're letting into our thoughts, because once we release those thoughts, then before you know it, they start to lead you into a whole different space or headspace. So yeah, that was just, I thought I'd share that.
Yeah, no, this is a very, very good example, Joy. Thank you for sharing this. So yes, we can reclaim our inner freedom, our peace, our joy. We can do simple things to feel good on a daily basis, and not to allow so much negativity, whether it's from people, family, friends, or the media, into our heads. And there are simple things we can do every day. It's meditation and the things we've already mentioned. And
you can have like positive quotes, you know, around you, or create, you know, have positive quotes around you, or you can actually create your own personal affirmations. And I've done that with a lot of my coachees, and it is working a treat. So when you wake up, you see all these wonderful quotes. So if your mind needs to wander, if you wander to those wonderful, amazing quotes that you have surrounding you. So that's really something that you can do if you know that perhaps you tend to worry a lot, or you're a bit more anxious, is to do that and have those daily affirmations.
Or it's almost like a mantra, isn't it? You distract yourself from the negative thoughts and go into a mantra. It's like with meditation, a lot of people say, oh, I can't meditate, I can't focus, but it's just focusing on something else, whether it's your breath, whether it's a mantra, whether it's a song, whether it's a prayer. It could be anything. We focus on something, and then we can sort of keep the mind less active and go into our sacred space and give ourselves the headspace to actually become creative, to have an inspired life and create something that we want, not that somebody else wants for us, but we just need to find it inside of us. And now we've got the time to work on ourselves, and we should take this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to just take some questions, because we're coming to an hour now. And if anybody would like to go off mute and ask a question in person, or would like to post it on the chat, now is your opportunity. And of course, this will be recorded. And so Joy, have you got any other final comments, something you would like to say to people? You know, what can they do from a practical point of view to feel good and not see themselves?
I think some of the things, I think we've mentioned, you know, most of them. So in terms of you know, finding inner joy and inner peace, is just do you know. So it's an opportunity that, rather than focusing on the negativity around you, or around your family members, or around your friends, or you want to share your opinions with them, is that you can actually be that example. So when you do you become more authentic, and being authentic, you know, it's incredible, because then it allows you to really stay focused. So be that example, rather than telling somebody, you be happy, I want you to be happy, where you be that happiness. You know, I say to my coaches all the time, create your own atmosphere of happiness. You can. You really can. You don't need anybody to give you that happiness. You can actually create that by being in that happy state. So when people see you in that happy state, and I've done that, I've been to different environments, and people go, oh my God, I feel happier now. That's because I took my own atmosphere of happiness, you know, rather than taking on their negativity. I kind of went and kind of infused the place, you know, with my own happiness. So that's one.
Well, you've got certainly the talent to do that. Wherever you walk in, like, everybody raises their frequency. I can see comments here like, thank you, I've already shifted to higher frequency today. I'm so grateful. So we're having these comments already. So you've done your job, and I hope many more people will listen to this and they will feel good. But this is interesting, because if you are in a high frequency, if you are feeling happy and inspired and joyful, you are going to be contagious. there is no way around it, and other people would get infected with your happiness.
Yeah. And it just starts with a smile. So there's nothing mega about it. It's a smile. And I mean, I'm not sure what the restrictions are. Obviously, some of you would sort of wear masks and the rest of it. But even wherever you are, it's just that smile can really make such an incredible difference. And it can. So something as simple as having a smile, and we talked about having a vision. So get that started this evening. Wherever you are, just after this seminar or this webinar, just take a pen and paper and just dream a little. A little, and write what is it that you want, which is fantastic. So, and that's good. We talk about the mountain of joy and the mountain of fear. Climb your mountain of joy today, and that whole power of being is also is very, very important. So yeah, those are all part of the kind of being inspired and the motivational tips. And become a lifelong learner. If you haven't experienced personal development, this might be the time to be that lifelong learner, because when you're always learning, you're always adding, you're always filling yourself, adding value to your spirit, and which is very, very important. So feed your soul, feed your spirit with great nourishments, and those nourishments will become seeds. So these are the positivity seeds that would then grow to serve you well, even in times when things are really challenging. So it's like, what seeds are you sowing right now in your life? Are you sowing the seeds of frustration, of anger, or whatever? Or do you want to sow the seeds of happiness and joy and peace and abundance? Sow that seed, because then you will reap those seeds in due course.
Yeah, no, amazing. This is great advice. And I think I'm also gonna draw a big smile on my mask. So at least people can imagine that I'm smiling under the mask in the shop if I have to wear it. So yeah, let's keep smiling, everybody. Thank you for your beautiful comments. People are feeling inspired, and thank you for making me smile, warm feeling, higher frequency. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending.
Someone was saying, Anna, sorry, someone was saying, if you're around someone very negative, how do you have that not affect you if you're not feeling 100% yourself?
Where is that?
Yes, that's from
How many
Rachel.
questions I can? Yeah, Rachel.
You want to also quickly answer
yes,
that?
could you answer that, please?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So right, Rachel, and thank you so much for sharing that question. And if you're around people who are very negative, and of course you yourself are a bit vulnerable because you yourself are not right. You think, I'm just about trying to hold myself. I can't be dealing, with other people's, negativity at the moment. I think one of the things that you can do is obviously take that time for yourself, and also be honest. Be honest with people, be honest with friends, to say, well, listen, I know what's going on around the world. It's not exactly fun, but right now I'm really in a vulnerable state, and I'm working to keep myself afloat. So I cannot be participating in this. Do you know what I mean? So you can actually be honest with that, so that they know where you stand in it, rather than you trying to internalize it and trying to please them. Secondly, if you are not feeling 100% yourself, it's an indication that obviously all is not well. So I would say remove yourself. I'm not saying forever, but remove yourself and work on you. So it means that if you're feeling out of sorts, you have not given enough attention to yourself. And it means you have not given attention to your self-care. So that is really what's alluding. So once you start to focus on your own self-care and focus on yourself, you find that you've given yourself that opportunity to build yourself up. So when people are around you who are negative, you don't soak that in. In fact, you can also help them, because they can see that you have gone through it yourself and you've come out of it in a much brighter way. So you can be their example.
Yeah, no, this is very good. And like setting the boundaries, shielding yourself, saying, okay, I can't have this now because I really need to work on myself. Yeah, Rachel, I know you've removed yourself a bit, and I think that's definitely the right thing to do for a lot of us at the moment. And I'm in that space myself as well. I'm doing a lot more spiritual practice, meditation, and I must say that I feel so much better. Just yesterday, a new piano keyboard arrived, and I'm like, I'm ecstatic. I'm so happy. I'm in a different world, but it's just me time. And I'm not even going to allow anybody to hear me. It's just like shielding myself and raising my own frequency and saying, you know, this is my little world now. It's me time. And it's super, super important. And especially if there are people negative who want to drag you into their world of negativity. So we need to be take self-care now more than ever in our lives. So thank you, everybody. And I hope you're going to stay high tonight. Do something for yourself. Do something positive. Don't check any news, anything tonight. Put music on, dance, and just feel good about yourself and focus on you.
And can I just say thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Anna, you are amazing as always. And thank you so much. I don't take it lightly, this invitation. So thank you so much for thinking worthy of me that to come to your Inspired Tribe and to share, you know, some of the things that I have to share this evening. So thank you so much for even, you know, the blessing. You are indeed a blessing to so many people. And I know you've transformed so many lives, and especially with the Inspired Tribe that you created. So thank you so much for making this happen. Really appreciate you. And thank you so much, everyone. And I think one last thing for me is that, yes, you've come today, you've gained, maybe apart from dancing to Billy Ocean as well, is to reach out, maybe reach out to someone tomorrow and also be a blessing to them. So, and I think that would be a wonderful way to really keep the joy and keep the love going. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. And I wish you a very good evening and see you on the next Inspired Tribe webinar.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.